Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. I'm welcome to a slightly different style of video for me. I very regularly get asked what equipment I use to make my videos. And in this film, I'm going to run you very briefly through the kit I use, but I'm constantly trying to improve the quality of my videos. And there is an area in my video production that I'm not happy with and haven't been happy with for a while. And I'm very much hoping that what's in this box is going to improve that. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the contents of this box. Now it's worth off starting by saying pretty much every content creator I know does things slightly differently, uses different equipment, and it's normally an evolution, a case of learning what works best for you and the equipment that you can, to start with, afford, and then just you start growing and growing the equipment that you use. There's, for me, two parts of my videos. There's the stuff in car, which isn't so much what this review is all about, and I'll briefly cover that off. I use GoPros now in car. I've got a combination of a GoPro Hero 9, which is my main camera to my face. I've got 3 Hero 8s, and I've even got some of these little Session 5s. I love these things. Sadly, they don't make them anymore. All of my videos are made in 4K, so all of these cameras run in 4K, and I try and run them at the highest frame rate possible, so 60 frames a second. Sadly, these little GoPro Hero Sessions can't do that. So that, if you like, is in the car. I might even use my drone every now and again, although I don't use this too often. But the main area I want to talk about is the stuff that we're doing now to camera, whether that's walking around the outside of a car or doing detail shots on the car. And I use a camcorder. I've had a very brief spell using a DSLR, digital SLR camera, but I just like the form factor of a camcorder. And this is where a lot of YouTubers change or vary, if you like, what they do. I love my camcorders. I've grown a collection of them now. I've got my main camcorder that I'm using there, which is the one I've used now for probably the last 12 months or so. It's certainly the most expensive one. And then I've got a couple of my older ones. If I'm doing a 3-camera shoot, I'll still use these and run them at 4K. The challenge though with the camcorder that I'm talking to you on is it does 4K, but only at 25 frames a second. So when I want to do detail shots, this is where my issue is. However, one of the best cameras I've got is on my iPhone. This will do 4K at a very high frame rate, 50 plus frames a second. And what I could do is use these for the detail shots, what we call B-roll. So when I'm doing a car review and I concentrate, let's say, a bit on the wheel or the wing, and I just move the camera slowly, that's a B-roll shot. And that's the bit where you can, even though you move it very slowly, you can still see shake and so on, and it just doesn't quite look professional. I do it with my main camera, and the problem is because it's running at such a low frame rate, it's even a little bit jerky. So what I want to try and do is improve that. So I could use a gimbal, a stabilization platform for my camera. The problem with my main camera, there are gimbals that can support things like DSLRs, but camcorders aren't really heavy enough to use those. So I've always struggled with trying to use a gimbal with a camcorder, but you can get them for a phone, and that is what's in this box. So this is a Hohem iSteady M6. It's a stabilization gimbal for a smartphone. It supports a number of smartphones. I'll tell you the details as we start to unpack, but that's what I want to review. I want to see if that can improve my B-roll footage that I overlay into my videos, but also it's got some other very, very cool features. So if you're into vlogging or creating TikTok or Instagram Reels, those types of things, this is a really useful piece of kit for you. Okay, let's start by seeing what's in the box. And the first thing is it comes in a really nice carry case. For me, that's a mega bonus because it means it's easy to transport around and I've got somewhere to put everything. So that's really very smart to start with. And if I undo it, you've then got nicely laid out the contents of the carry case. In the top here, your little pocket, you've got the most important thing, the instructions. I'm a bloke, won't read them. Only joking, of course I will. And then you've got the gimbal itself. Now, it's got a really nice trigger grip, and then the arm at the top, this is where you attach your smartphone. So I'm going to try in the video to run through some of the basic features. I'm going to start off by talking about the ones that I think are going to improve my videos, but then this has some functions that I don't currently have access to, which I think are going to add even more to the content that I create. But that's the actual gimbal itself. What you also get in here is a little tripod that you can screw into the bottom. And then that means that you've got the ability to put it on a surface like that. And then the final thing in this little box here, you've got all your charge cables, but it's basically just a USB-C charge cable. I'm sure you've got plenty of them lying around the house. I certainly have. And that's pretty much the contents of the box. I like that. Nice and simple. You will be pleased to know this thing is super easy to set up. The first thing you need to do is download the Hohem app to your smartphone. Now there's a QR code in the instruction manual, there's one on the box, or you could just do a search. It supports Apple and Android devices, so shouldn't be a problem there. And then once you've downloaded the app, you need to pair your smartphone with a device using Bluetooth. A simple process, we've all done it a million times, I'm sure. Go into your Bluetooth settings, search for the device, and pair away. Once you've done that, you're then pretty much ready to link the two devices physically. The way the phone clamps onto the gimbal is with these little jaws at the top, and they just pull apart and the phone is clamped in there. Now, I guess this is maybe the limiting factor in terms of size of device. It supports from 58 millimeters up to 98 millimeters and up to 400 grams in weight. So that's your, if you like, your size limit. So probably just worth checking that your phone is going to fit in it before you go and order one. But then it's a simple process. You just basically put your phone in there, pull the clamps apart, and the phone is now clamped in place. Now, next thing you need to do is unlock the gimbal. It's got like almost like a travel lock. So on this rear one here, you just do that, and now you can see it's free. So now it's free and it's loose and ready to go. You can also, on the rear here, you can slide, if I just open that up, you can slide this bar to the left and to the right, and then just clamp it down to balance the phone. Now, actually out the box, it came pretty balanced for my phone, but that might just take a little bit of jiggling around with. And then on the main pistol grip, on this side just here, there's a little on-off button just here. If you hold that for about 3 seconds, hold it down, little LED screen comes on, you can see there, and then the phone's now on and ready to play. So I am going to just move it just to the left a little bit, because I think that's probably nicely balanced. Okay, and now you can almost start to see the slurring of the motion. Now there's loads and loads of different features here. I'll try and highlight a few of those in this video. There's a little kind of joystick just here, and if I move that, I'm able to move the phone. If I just do that, you can see the phone going up and down. I can move it to the right and to the left. So you can do that manually. And then if I just hold the device, you can kind of see the phone just staying still, and I haven't even got the app switched on yet. So that's the basics of it. Then the final bit of equipment on there to mention before we go and start putting it to use is on top just here is a little magnetically removable device. Now that performs two functions. It's a backlight, so if you just need a little bit of lighting, there's a light on there, but also the gimbal has face detection and AI movement. So basically what that means, and I'll demonstrate this a little bit later on in the video, is it detects my face, and as I move around, the gimbal, if I've got it on the tripod like that, will automatically pan the camera around and follow me around. So if you are a single shooter like me, that is music to your ears, because the one thing I can't do, unless I hold the camera out sort of selfie style, is I can't do that kind of thing on my own. Normally the camera's locked off like the one I'm talking to you now. But with the face and detection. As I move around, it just gives you that extra bit of dynamic movement, which I think will look really, really cool in my videos. So I think we go out and test this out. I'm going to give you a compare and contrast between the panning I would normally use on the camcorder I'm talking to you right now and on the gimbal, because I think it's going to be very, very different. So we're now outside, and I just happen to have the new Hyundai Ioniq 6 press car this week, a perfect test bed for my new B-roll creation. So what I would normally do once I've filmed the bits around the car is I then need to get detail shots. And what I would normally do is use my camcorder to do that. So this camcorder, just like the main one I'm talking to you on, unfortunately, it's 4K, but it only does 25 frames a second. Now, I could maybe buy a camcorder that does a higher frame rate, but that's going to cost a lot more money. What I'd then do, let's say I want to get a B-roll shot of the Hyundai badge at the front, I'd then just literally manually just do this as slowly as I can. And then in the edit software, what I might do then is slow it down again by half speed. So it's a nice smooth thing. But the problem with the frame rate is it does become a little bit, you can see the kind of judders in the, as the frames go through. If we did then the front just here, maybe the headlight, I'd just slowly do that. And then finally, let's say I want to do one on the wheel, I just hold it down there and slowly, the slower the better. So that's what I would do up until this point. Now, with the gimbal, I should be able to do things a little bit different, because if I just bring this over here, I've now got, and you can kind of see that, even if I move the gimbal around, the orientation of the camera doesn't change. The frame rate of the iPhone I've set within the app. I've set this now to run at 4K and 60 frames a second, so it's a much higher frame rate. Now, the stabilisation on an iPhone's pretty good anyway, even if I held it in my hands. But now on a gimbal, it should be much, much more different. So let me go over to the badge, and I can now, if I want to, I can manually just move that across. And then if I just did this and go, you can almost, I can see it's different, better, more smooth now. And again, now I can just do this. Nice and smooth. And then maybe the wheel. Again, if I just did the wheel, nice and smooth. Now, it may also be the case that I don't actually need to slow this footage down. You try and slow it down to kind of take away some of the shakes, but because I've got the thing, woo. So yeah, hopefully that's changed my, and I'll be able to do wider shots, panning shots like that, and just, it doesn't matter where my hand goes, the phone is stabilized. Awesome. Now, this has got another trick in its toolbox, and I think we need to go inside to show you that one. But I could do that forever. Just watch if I just do it, you can see in both, it's just staying perfectly horizontal. Very, very cool. Now, the next thing I want to try and show you is the facial tracking, panning AI function, because it's just awesome. So if you look on the left-hand side of the app screen, there's a little button there. And on the top left-hand corner now, if I put facial tracking, you'll see a green box around my face. And what happens now, if I start to move my face, the camera pans and keeps me center view. And that's pretty cool. I guess it's a little bit like the follow me function you might find on a drone, but what's really cool is if I stand up or if I sit down, it follows me around. And as I said, for me as a single shooter, that feature I just think is really, really cool. So I can't wait to play with that. So last couple of things. At the moment, the camera's set for me in landscape. What if I wanted to do portrait for something like making TikTok videos or Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, that kind of thing? Well, it's super easy. If you just unclip the phone, and then you can basically change the orientation through 90 degrees, and then you just clip your phone back on like that. Ooh. and I can now do TikTok. Not that I've got any subscribers on TikTok, but for Instagram Reels, that kind of thing, really, really useful. Last couple of things, I'm going to be boring and read the manual because there's so many things I want to talk to you about. Battery life, up to about 18 hours. It only takes 3 hours to recharge. So for me, that's really important because I know that on a long day shoot, even if I use this a lot, I'm still going to have plenty of battery to get me through a day, and it's really quick and easy to recharge. All of the functions and features are available. You can kind of see on this main little LED screen just here. You can change the focus, you can zoom in and out. So all of the kind of camera controls you'd want are all available on this pistol grip. But just in terms of some of the modes, we've basically got, I'll read through them. Pan follow, so tilt and roll axis are both locked and the camera is able to move left and right smoothly. Or pan and tilt follow, roll axis is locked and camera is able to move left and right and up and down. Or you can lock them all off. You can do the follow me mode. There's a sport mode where the gimbal speed increases if you're moving things very, very quickly. So there's lots and lots of very cool features. And then obviously you've got the AI feature that we just talked about as well. So so far, I just think it's a really great piece of kit. I think it looks fantastic. I love this kind of anodized orange on all of the controls. It's got a really nice feel of quality and weight to it. So I'll put a link in the description below and in a pinned comment. I haven't talked about price yet. You may well be surprised to find out they are just over £200 in the UK. It depends on where you are in the world. You might have to add shipping on top of that, but it's not, for me, a huge amount of money compared to some of the bigger gimbals that you might use with an SLR. And I think the quality for the if you like, the investment to quality ratio is absolutely mega. So very, very impressed. So I'd love to know what you think of the Hohem iSteady M6. I certainly like it, and I can't wait to get using it in more and more of my videos and improving the quality of my videos. But if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film, hopefully gimbal stabilised. See you on that one, guys. You take care. Drive safe.